Hi everyone, this is Sunette, and in this video we are continuing with self-shaping. So, another interesting point that I've noticed even when sometimes looking at things inside myself, when I scramble words around, as simple as self-shaping and shaping self, it makes a big difference. Even when I realized what I was doing there, and guys, I was sitting with shaping self for quite some time, all right? And I kept on looking at it and going on about it, inside myself. And it even started giving pressure in the back of my head and on my shoulders. When you're really passionate about looking at something, figuring it out, knowing it's right here in front of you. And it was just in the very words that I was working with and the way that I was working with it. That was the problem. And, but I had a good laugh with myself after, like, oh man, how about you just change the words around? I just imagined a person coming at me or even a kid and kind of looking at me. You just need to change the words around. It's like those moments. And from self-shaping, the clay, the molding, the pottery came up for me as an example. But you can have a look at an example that you can relate to more in your everyday life. For me, another good example is painting. I used to take painting classes when I was younger. And we had this picture that we had to paint. And the teacher told us, there's the picture, but don't try and paint the picture exactly as it's there, because then you're going to fail. Then you are going to, go through all these judgments and emotions and experiences and comparisons and competitions. I do not want any one of you to paint or try and even paint what is exactly there. Use it as a reference, but I want to challenge everyone to see how are you going to bring out, emphasize, design, paint. What tools, utensils, paints are you going to use to express that? And I want everyone to use something different. So she'd have a table there with all the different ways, that you could express the paintings through on the canvas. And that also was a very good example for me of a reminder for each one in this process. What I gift you is that picture, all right, that guideline. Yes, how it's going to come out on all the canvases is the general blueprint of it. But the filling, the content, the experience, the feel, that's your uniqueness that has to come through. All right. So here also with the self-shaping, for me, the pottery class, the working with the clay, the mold, the shaping, the time that has to go into it, the mistakes that you're gonna make, where it's going to flop and you have to kind of collect it all back again and start over. That's also going to happen. And maybe sometimes even more than once, because sometimes you're going to have to work on creating this vase, which is very detailed. And other times you're going to work with a more simple process. It's just going to be a nice round bowl. And then, much to my surprise, sometimes we think, oh man, this bowl's gonna be easy. Nope. That ends up being the most difficult, and the vase becomes the easiest. So, also not to judge the processes and what we'll be working with. But getting to the self-shaping. Okay, so the examples I worked with was like this, how can I call it? Like this almost nagging perfectionism that was still coming up in me. And sometimes this perfectionism really feels like it's my own nails digging into my guts, with how frustrated I can become at myself if something is not that level of perfect. And I went a bit out of the screen. Yeah, outside the screen, into the sky, toward the moon, universe, perfection. So if it's not up there, then, I sometimes want to, give myself a light little punch. So that bothered me. And I knew that bothered me about myself because sometimes when I see myself do it, how I would respond to it is, I did it again. Why? Why did I go into it? Then I perfectly get angry at myself for going into that, nagging perfectionism. And so I claw at myself. It's the weirdest thing, it's like this clawing comes out at myself and then even nags at me for being perfect. But the perfectionism caused the nagging in the first place. It's complicated. Anyway, so those little things, and it happens when I'm putting on socks or even clothes, doing my hair. Guys, one little strand sometimes, I'm like, there is a strand out of place. Okay, but not that excessive or extensive, but it nags. And then I'm like, okay, I need to do my hair all over again. And then I do. And then something else goes wrong that's not perfect. And then I try a third time. And then eventually I'm like, nope, I'm not even doing this hairstyle anymore. And then I go with something completely different. But it's done in that feel and energy of, So what I started doing is, this shape that I take in, this feel. So I started with, how do I feel in that moment? How do I make myself feel in those moments? And I literally feel like I'm clawing at myself, inside myself, like a vicious cat, like creature. And so like, whoa, okay, that feel is not cool with me. So I started practicing whenever it came up. And it even happened today where I did this nice little braid right here. And there, I don't know if you'll possibly see in the camera, but there are some places, kind of out of place. And because my hair is very wavy and sometimes curly, as you can see here as well. And I could feel this clawing coming again. I'm like, girl, how are we working toward the shape of, accepting how it is here and what is here within the conditions that you're working with, and doing it within that context as best you can, taking your time. And secondly, is it about making a braid perfect, or is it about who you are in the process of doing it? So my new shape that I've taken when braiding my hair or doing my hair or putting on my socks and looking all perfect as much as I can, symmetrical even, I remind myself of a self-shape in my expression that comes through. My expression meaning an enjoyment. Why am I braiding my hair? What's my reason? What's my reason within what I do? That has become my definition of shaping. I'm shaping my reason. I'm shaping my purpose. I'm shaping the who. And so I started braiding again, and I then started feeling each strand with my fingers, how my hair was feeling, how the condition was doing, checking in, and also having a look at how it complements, how that moment of focus and attention of doing the braiding of the hair, assists me to slow down and breathe and calm down, and actually also prepare, and having a look at what am I going to be doing in some of the videos, what am I looking forward to, and also just wanting to try a different braiding style. And in doing all of that, kind of, yes, in the back of me, there's that, it doesn't look 100% perfect, but what I do remember is my process, my who I am, my reason, my purpose for doing this. So it's not just every time I walk past a mirror now going, It is, yeah, I remember why I did that today. And, it can also even function as a reminder for you during the day. And if you go through ups and downs or, something's happening, and you can just touch your hair and go, okay, that's your thing. Make it a thing for you. So in a nutshell, shaping is your reason, your purpose, your starting point within and behind what you do and why. The more that comes. Even in the platform that we stood on in the beginning of shaping a healthy self-style, that platform has got a shape. And we are going to start shaping that very platform into something more. Who knows? Maybe one day we can just play around in our imaginations and imagine the platform being a loft or a boat or a ship or a cloud or, But what I'm saying is we always start somewhere with something simple, and to it there's always a shape. So every starting point has a shape within it, which is defined in its very reason and purpose. Just as we are in the process of defining the very reason and purpose for shaping a healthy self-style. All right, everyone, in the next video, we will continue with sharing some support on how you can practically find that reason and purpose behind and within your everyday life. Little things that tended to bother you, and how much more those moments can become. Thank you very much.